kind of over and over again. It's in flux, right? So what is Sojourn good at? Let's just start with that.
Well, she's definitely good at poking, mobility, taking angles,
So
like instant damage.
right. So I think one thing that's really important for me to kind of consider, for me to talk about, is the dynamics of your positioning, right? So when we were playing into the Reaper Sojourn composition, there was nothing that could outrange you, so you could just comfortably poke from whatever range that you wanted to. Now, you look at the enemy composition, it's a bit odd for Control Center, I'm not going to lie, but obviously things like the Hanzo are going to be a problem, right? Whereas, right, and then all of a sudden, like, let's say you're playing on a different map and they're going to be on Widowmaker, or they're going to be on a damage boosted Ashe. Like, those things in this meta are not unheard of like they were before. So you're talking about heroes that can actually contest your range. Well, now what aspect of Sojourn are you leaning into? Are you leaning into a railgun necessarily? Yeah, kind of, always, but you have your mobility to consider, don't you? And they don't have that mobility. So then how does that affect your positioning?
Yeah, it could really impact that big time.
Right. And then let's say you're playing into a Reaper Sombra comp or a Reaper Tracer comp or a Genji Tracer composition. Now you're really leveraging your range, right?
Yeah, then you're gonna be a lot more reserved in your position.
Right. I had a big talk on this on stream yesterday, but I think this is where like a dynamic hero like Sojourn, a lot like an Orisa, a lot like a Kiriko, really has to consider the enemy comp when you consider how you're positioning. So let's just play this one out, but like let's see if we can kind of keep that in mind as we're watching. Obviously, things like E are going to be pretty much objectively good or bad. Like, we don't have to talk a lot about that. But I think when it comes to positioning, for example, like right now, like this positioning is crazy aggressive, but look at their comp. You're not going to get punished for this, are you?
Yeah, they're not going to be able to like get onto me.
No way. No way. And even if they did, you'd always be able to have the shift to get out. Like, we want to leverage that as Sojourn. We want to abuse the fact that we have a mobility cooldown and no other hit scan has that. So this is perfect.
Okay.
You force an early shot. That's brilliant. We have to be careful of peeking Hanzo. We want to try and peek not the Hanzo, or at least move unpredictably. Like, you can see how this is like a little bit spooky, but as long as they're able to hold, as long as they're able to hold a good corner with it, it should be okay. This is a nice E, nice shot. There's just not a lot to say here. I think you took a very reasonable position. Your E's were phenomenal. You hit the shots when you needed to. It's okay. The only thing you have to consider is obviously. Here's a good question for you. So how do you play around Hanzo? So we're talking about like, okay, we don't want to peek a Hanzo. Well, that's not really true, is it? Of course you're going to peek a Hanzo. It just depends when and how you peek a Hanzo. So how would you handle that matchup?
Well, I mean, I mostly try and like peek with like more like long strays to kind of just dodge the shots for the most part.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, if I feel like I do like testing the water first. So like if the Hanzo is hitting your shots, I'll just tend to not peek as much at all.
Sure. How about also considering your railgun charge as well, right? Because if you have something if you have something to contest his range, all of a sudden it's a 50-50 duel. In fact, it's not even 50-50 because you're able to. I think Hanzo slows down when he's channeling his shots, right? So his strafing pattern is actually more predictable than yours is. So you're able to maintain your aggressive strafing. He is not. So in theory, obviously he has the one shot. You technically don't have a one shot without the damage boost, but I think you actually have the advantage when you have rail. So okay, let's go. And now they're on Tracer, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Now they can actually get me.
Right. Now your off angles might be contested. So does that mean you can't take off angles? No, but you just need to keep in mind where she is, right? You cannot lose track of her. Okay, let's keep playing. So we got almost a raw mirror here. Personally, I like the Orisa a little bit better. I think she's a little bit more self-sufficient, but
same. It feels a bit better.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. They're playing Orisa now.
Yeah. I also just like Orisa, period. I think Orisa's definitely a little bit broken, but I think people whine about her too much. She's really annoying in the tank mirror, but she's so much fun in the non-tank mirror. Like, playing Orisa versus other tanks is so much fun. Okay, so positioning here. Let's kind of consider this. So you definitely have a sightline here, right? And this isn't the end of the world, but what's the problem with your current positioning here objectively from like a big picture macro standpoint? Press right click or left click for me. I think that's the key. Yeah. So what do you think?
It's like in a corner basically.
Right.
Or like it's like kind of in the open, and it narrows my sightlines a bit.
Right. It simultaneously feels like you can't see enough, like your vision is cramped, and also feels like you're out in the middle of the open at the same time. You're not actually out in the open, but it feels like it's going to be difficult for you to get good picks without shooting through the Orisa, which is obviously not great. Now, here's a question for you, especially with the ultimate here. what's the alternative? And this is something that you could practice. You want to talk about doing more VOD reviews. Well, this is what we practice. Where would you go?
Probably like up here or even like over here.
Yeah. If you know that you're close in ultimate, is there any reason for you to be playing where you're at right now and not leaning into white? You know?
No, that's actually true.
You know what I'm saying?
Probably should have just rotated there earlier. Yeah.
Now what's the weakness of white? We talked about the tracer, right? Obviously, you have to consider.
Yeah, the tracer.
That. Right.
Yeah, the tracer coming on the flank.
Easier staging, right? But as long as you're aware of that, then you can play around that. And you can even look at your tracer right now. She's mirroring their tracer. So you're never going to be caught surprised. And then what's the nice thing about white? Let's say you're pressing Q right now, but you're doing so in white. Obviously, the Kiriko position wouldn't be allowed to be here. But also what would happen from white? You press Q. How do they kite it out?
Yeah, press Q from there. Sorry, what? Sorry?
So how do they kite out your ultimate if you're in white?
Well, they're probably going to kite like somewhere this way, so they're going to have like a predictable pattern.
And you can still shoot them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot harder for them to LOS your ultimate when you set up a crossfire off angle like this. So I don't love this positioning with or without ultimate, but I think with both of them, it's certainly not great. So you might hit the shot here, but this is going to be more of a mechanical play than a good decision, good investment starting off. So let's just play. Let's see what happens. Yeah, and you can see like how it's very problematic. That was a great shot, but this is completely raw mechanics. Nothing about this was well done. This is well executed, good time invested, and I think that's obviously a major problem. Okay.
Like I could set myself up a lot better to like make it so much easier to begin with.
Right. Correct. And the funny thing is if you set yourself up better, it's not even a demand on mechanics. You can hit nothing but body shots, and you'd still win the fight.
Sure.
This is fine. We get good little bit of off-angle pressure here. Okay, so then this is really important, right? So positioning in Overwatch, especially as a Sojourn, is dynamic. Is your positioning here right now bad?
I think it's mostly not so great.
I don't think it's necessarily bad. But it's not great. Okay, so then obviously probably being in Kiriko ult here with the Mercy Pocket, I think with the Mercy Pocket Kiriko it's a lot less attractive because it doesn't put your Mercy in a very good position. So then how would you position here?
I think maybe if I rotated around this way, it would have been really good.
Sure. So you can start where you're at now is fine, but then as you start to see them rotate and you peak here, now you start to rotate out to this corner.
Yeah.
With a brilliant angle for your E, a brilliant angle for pressure on that Orisa or their backline, and you can see it right on the right side of your screen. If you want to go even deeper, oh my gosh, you know what I'm saying?
Walk onto the Mercy,
Right. You have a safe option from the corner, just the bottom left, shooting the Orisa, putting out a lot of great pressure. Not even further left, right here. This is right there.
Oh, like this.
Yeah. This is a perfect safe little angle, right? Doesn't cost you any cooldown. Or if you want to go more aggressive, you can go deeper. Right.
Okay.
And that's what we're looking at here. We're not always pushing aggressive. There's good aggressive. There's bad aggressive. There's good defensive. There's bad defensive. And for you, good aggressive and good defensive are both on the right sides of your screen. Okay. So let's look at your POV here. Obviously, not having E here, by the way, sucks as well. Just something you need to manage. Yeah. You thought, I'm gonna get it back in time, but you were wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep playing. Like your impact here, and then this is what we hate to see, right? You took a weak position, you ended up having to use a cooldown to get to a good position, and ironically, this position isn't even that good to begin with now. We want to start and rotate using our feet. It's like Winston, right? We want to use our feet to get to good positions, or Tracer for that matter, and then have our cooldowns to actually engage, disengage, abuse the fact that I could play really aggressive because if you guys go for me, I'm going to shift out. This sucks. Okay, let's keep playing. I mean, this is really just kind of, it's over. You know, there's nothing to say here because we set ourselves up for failure, and then now we've put ourselves in an unwinnable situation here. Like, and I'm also a big fan of, like, we'll just keep playing. You can just keep playing here.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Where I think, like, mid-fight stuff is a lot harder to coach. A lot of it's just, like, instinct and mechanics. So we don't want to spend a lot of time, like, analyzing mid-fight decision-making because, obviously, a lot of that's just kind of, like, gut instinct, panic, whatever. It doesn't really matter. We want to invest our time between fights where we actually have the time to be able to think things through.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, obviously, nice shot. Not a lot. Not much you could do here, right? Good cooldown usage with your E. Good timing. Good target focus. I think that's pretty much it. I will say this, so let's go back a wee bit. So this is a classic example of what I would call the skirmish playstyle, to where you take aggressive angles, but you never use a cooldown, so that then when they punish you for using aggressive angles, you have your cooldowns to disengage. Now you've got sloppy here. Go back even further from your.
Okay, yeah. When I bit like before I use my slide.
Yes, because the problem here is not that we're up one, we can push. You should push here, but you should not push using a cooldown, because they still have a catch, don't they? They have the Orisa ult. Now, it's not just Orisa ult that you'd have to worry about here. What if they had Sojourn ult? What if they had Kiriko ult? Do you see? It's still a clutchable fight for them, as long as you don't have your cooldowns. If your Orisa walks into here and uses her Fortify before she uses ult, she could die too. You know, same thing with your Kiriko. If your Kiriko uses Suzu or TP, she could die too. It applies to every hero. If cooldowns using all of your cooldowns to get a kill doesn't mean that you automatically win the fight. You actually have to try and avoid combat for a second, or play it slow in a way. So let's play.
Okay.
So you did a great job getting the kill, but then you slide in. No.
Yeah.
No. And at the very least, at the very least, play distance here. Don't get up and close and personal here. And obviously, shooting the Orisa is just dumb. Like, there's shoot the Kiriko, shoot the Sojourn. Yeah. Okay. So a lot of things wrong with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going, because I think shooting Orisa is what ends up W keying you into her. Like, you kind of get like what I call the plat magnet, where you like start shooting a target and you're like, get closer, get closer, get closer. You know. Yeah. Whatever. This is fine. We're gonna cap. We're gonna walk forward. Already right now thinking about reminding yourself, where do I need to position here? And obviously, where are they rotating, right? Because as we saw earlier, our initial fight positioning, mechanics, go next fight.
Okay.
I think maybe pushing up a little too far there, but it's not the worst thing in the world. You just got RKO'd, so. Nice E. I like the off angle here. Maybe if our Kiriko helps our Orisa, this will work. I think it will. Yeah, and this is a great way to break this choke, is that Kiriko and Orisa on the off angle, you and the Mercy on the off angle, theoretically makes it very hard for them to close hold that choke. Not a lot to say here. I would definitely get that Sojourn E out. Yep, that's perfect. That's perfectly placed. That's going to put out a lot of pressure. There's your space. Okay, there's their Valk. We just need to chill. Not really any off angle for you to hold here. That Orisa wastes her Fortify. Your Kiriko gets mechanics, but the Orisa gets punished for the cooldowns. That E's not great. I think you definitely felt like you needed to use it, but there wasn't an easy target for it, right? So I think you just kind of used it.
Where do you think I could have placed it then? Like, or maybe even just held on to it?
Just held on to it. There wasn't an easy spot for you to use it without just throwing it at the Orisa, so then just don't use it, you know? It's a 15-second cooldown, right? That you will find a use for it in the next 6, 7, 8 seconds, whatever. I think besides that, though, this was just... There wasn't a lot of space and opportunity for you to do much here. Again, total waste of your cooldown. Total waste, right? Right now, would have really liked to have your E. You're going to get the touch. Great shot. I would create some distance here. Yeah, that's exactly what we should be doing. Nice. Ooh. Yeah, just mechanics. That guy should die. E. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I think. I mean, we're cruising, right? We want to get through as much gameplay as we can.
Right.
But what are you seeing so far? A couple of fights felt a little bit out of our hands, but then a couple of fights felt completely responsible, right? What are you seeing?
So I think like it's mainly like I could have had better positioning to start off with.
Especially in the defensive situations, right? Especially in those defensive situations.
Especially yes. And then I could have probably just had better usage of my E's as well. Like I didn't have them like in a situation where it was needed. I kind of just like wasted it. And I could have had bigger impact.
Sure, a little bit of too much shooting of Orisa, a little bit of wasting shift just because we're up one, and then getting punished for it because they had a catch ult for like. I think Chris with London used to always say lose cons, right? Like, okay, we've won this fight, surely guys. Oh no, they had Death Blossom and we've used all of our cooldowns. We die now. And I think that's something to kind of practice a little bit, especially in a scrim environment. But yeah, I think those are little things. I think the two things that you brought up were the more important ones. So we'll just keep an eye and we'll see how we do on round 2.
I don't want to like skip too far forward because then they get the applying update bug. I don't know if that's happened to
you. Yeah. That's okay. Don't worry about it. It's just classic scrim. Everyone's kind of talking. Okay, let's see what we got here. Weird comp from them. Weird comp from you guys, actually, but this is a good map for balls, so seems reasonable. Let's see what we do.
Okay.
Positioning wise, if we go back to what we initially started about, what are you thinking? Just like give yourself like a very, very dry, easy I think positional guideline here. Look at the
If I
comp,
were to
right?
start off, yeah, I think starting off, I want to like chill over here so I can get like easy angle on on the
Yeah,
bridge,
yeah,
and then like I would want to like slowly rotate it to like
right,
over like to the yeah to
right,
the I
right.
don't want to say the term, but
Sure, sure.
and then continue
Sure. So the
depending
mobility,
on where they go.
you don't want to say the term.
Yeah.
Classic. Okay. So your mobility is kind of gate kept here a little bit because Hog and Tracer Echo are going to be hunting you down. However, if you consider it from the range standpoint, you could play like a Widowmaker almost. You know what I'm saying? Literally nothing
True.
on your team can contest you at anything longer than mid-range to long range, you completely dominate them. So
Yeah.
that Echo has to close the distance on you. That Hog Tracer have to close the distance on you and do so safely. If they don't, they just automatically lose. Okay, let's keep going. It's kind of weird saying that even though you're playing like a Lucio comp, but I think you could definitely go aggressive if you'd like to, but it might just be better to just what's the mistake here, right? It's not complicated, is it? You just forgot.
I could have just moved a bit more.
You
Yeah.
just forgot. Like I know you're channeled on that fight on main, but I think once you put a little bit of charge in there, once you throw your ear there, you just need to know where that Echo Mercy is. If that Echo fails in the assassination, it's over, right? She's used her shift, she's used her sticky, she's used her beam, and now she's out in the open. So either she's going to die or she's going to have to play really careful MIA until she gets her cooldowns back.
Yeah, I think the first mistake is actually not scouting out to see what they were playing because I don't think I knew that they were playing Mercy
exactly,
Echo to begin with.
exactly.
So I think I should have scouted that first.
There's some heroes
Accordingly.
there's some heroes in some situations that just totally capitalize human error, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
They're not like, okay, like if you were a good, it's like a skill check almost, for lack of a better term. It's a little bit like Roadhog, right? Like where if you lose your attention and focus, you die. Now,
yeah, you get hooked and you die.
Right. But if you keep attention, you keep focus, you don't forget, then you're good. Okay, this is whatever. I mean, this fight is just a mess. We talked about, like, we want to see fights where it's not been bad from the get go. We want to see fights where we've had time to set up, because after that it just comes down to mechanics. Okay. Now this is going to be tough because you guys are probably going to rotate left. Whatever. You guys are probably going to rotate left, but obviously you are very concerned about rotating left because that's Echo Dive Bomb territory. So you need to keep that in mind. So you can start here, but then you need to maybe consider swinging wide left or swinging wide right or just dueling the Tracer or so on. Okay, so keep playing. This has all been fine. This is whatever. Looking at the Tracer is really good, right? If you're gonna need to get a duel with the Tracer, again, it's just like the Echo. Do not be surprised. You need to know where she is at all times. Okay, whatever. Go next fight. I think we played that one fine. Okay, no surprises. Where's Hog? Where's Tracer? Where's Echo? For you, priority is probably Echo or Tracer, unless the Hog gets close. This is fine. I mean, this is really difficult for her, right? Because if you consider, like, okay, I'm questioning the ult timing a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
It must have been very early, actually.
Felt a little bit LOSable for them. But that being said, the good thing here is, do you see how that Echo just doesn't have any option at all? She has what can she do? When you look at her and you have your shift, she can't do anything. And it's a 2v1. You don't even need pocket. You know what I'm saying? That's rough. That's really, really rough for her. So well done. Obviously, we don't love the ult timing, but we do love the fact that we're learning from our mistakes and not going back into tunneling on main again. Okay, so this fight should be won. Okay, no surprises. There's Tracer. Even if they get the res here, keep looking at that Tracer. Because you're like, oh, she's distracting me. Yes, but she's also doing nothing too, and you're able to get a little bit of chip damage on her team, right? No surprises. And you have to consider your hero. Is your hero bad at 1v1ing a Tracer? No, your hero is fine at 1v1ing a Tracer.
Yeah.
Right? It's just the Tracer can't surprise you. That's fine. I don't think your contribution in this fight was the problem. I think you did fine.
Okay.
You were able to kill the Echo, mark the res, put some pressure on main, mark the Tracer. I don't think you can ask for a lot more. It's not like the previous round where this E sucks.
Yeah, I know. Like, as soon as I use it, even I knew.
Yeah, you have to know that there's combat happening too soon. It's just too soon.
Yeah, that's my bad.
Yeah, because the E right here, very impactful. It's good chip damage. So, not the greatest shift, to be honest with you. I don't think you got much out of that, but whatever, I guess. At least there was not an Echo to consider because she's copied. Her copy position was really, really bad. So that pretty much screwed them over. It's like she's literally just standing there. You could E that. Yep, it's fine. I would set up for an angle on probably right. I think you're going to have a better angle than where you are right now. Even though it's, where they expect you to be. There's a reason why they expect you to be on right, because it's freaking amazing, right?
That's a
Genji,
really good position.
Genji swap is, I mean, even more binary, right? Like it's just stay, keep your distance, and like he can't win. E is also not great, to be honest with you. Too close, too soon before the fight. Like if you go back a little bit, so this is where it's like really, really, really not super easy, because if you go back, I understand why you E here. So play and then just like 2 seconds. He's walking forward, right? But but I don't think that he's committed. You know what I'm saying? So even if you get a nice split here, which you do, I don't think it's punishable in a way that you're going to get some sort of HP trade here.
Right, because like more like he's like walking up to scout kind of, not really to engage.
Right. We're talking about a matter of seconds. Now, if you E this here and maybe he walks behind the cover and your Lucio goes for a boop off the mat, maybe that works, because I think he's probably going to rotate right. So let's actually see what happens on the hog. Play it. I think he'd probably rotate right. Oh, he goes left. Okay, so either way, there's a boop opportunity here, but it's just not great, you know. Okay, so either way,
not an easy one.
Right, not an easy one. I think waiting 2 seconds there and you get an unkiteable E, right? Distance here is a little bit tight, but as long as you have your shift, it's okay. And then that's it right there, right? Look at the cooldowns used by the enemy team. Look at the ultimate. Look at the and it's just totally wasted. You just pressed one button, and then the entire dive is denied. Yeah, this is just lazy. I'm not gonna lie. This is the same problem we had with the Orisa earlier, where the old timing was fine, but all you do is you just get sucked into the middle and start pelting damage into the tank line. And I know, like, go back a little bit. Like, I know, like, their comp is not exactly the easiest to one-shot. The Genji, the Tracer, you know, whatever. Go back even more. As soon as you press Q. But remember, a body shot on a Tracer with this is crucial. So, like, right now, are you in a good position to use your ultimate?
No. I could have waited a little bit longer.
You could have waited,
things open.
Right? You could have waited a little longer, swung a little bit back to the right. You know what I'm saying? And
open things up for myself.
Right. And then you can even use it as a response to their dive. So seriously, move your camera farther to the right. Right here.
Like all the way here.
Right here. Yeah. Pop Q. Right now. And then what's going to happen? They're going to dive you. You're going to shift out, and then they're going to use their cooldowns to survive, and it's over. It's not kiteable.
Yeah, because they've used the cooldowns to get into the open, and then I slide away.
Right. And it's not kiteable for them anymore, right? This is very easy for them to LOS, and so you could tell, because who do you dump all your damage into?
Oh, the Tracer, the Genji.
Right.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. But who do you actually dump your damage into in this particular ult, I guess?
The hog.
And
then I missed my shot on the Kirk.
Right.
When I think the hog.
Right. And so that's the red flag here. This doesn't even force a proper cooldown here, because like obviously if you body shot a Tracer, there's a recall. If you force a Genji, forces deflect, forces dash, forces a Suzu from Kiriko, you will win fights off of that. Body shotting a tank who has vape or maybe a fortified Orisa, not saying never shoot a tank, but you know, this ain't it. So okay, and also the problem with this as well is look at your camera. Are you really thinking about the Genjis or the Tracers at that point in time?
No, because I can't even see them.
Yeah, you're opening yourself wide open to a dive. Look at your proximity right now. Look at your attention, right? Where's your attention right now? It's on hog, right?
Yeah,
you're opening yourself wide open. So just play it out. Not pretty.
No.
So mechanics, maybe, yeah, but not the real reason I think this goes ugly. Nice shot.
That slide kind of makes things difficult for me there.
Yeah, that slide was kind of a little bit goofy. All right, let's watch this a little bit more. Go to the next round.
Like the next one?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I mean, right next round, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And let's see if they make any more compositional adjustments which make our positioning fun. Because that one was good, you know, it was different, right? And I think again here it's a little bit different, right? Because look at your comp, right? This is awkward now, right? Because you don't have pocket, they do. And not only do they have pocket, but they actually have 2 ranged threats that you have to worry about. So what are you thinking positioning wise? We don't have to do anything drastically different necessarily, but what do we have to consider?
I think I just have to play more around corners and stuff to try and like avoid more poke.
Right. We want to avoid taking raw long-term range, because I mean, even if you look at it just from the one shot, she can one shot, you cannot. Not to mention damage boost and the Cassidy threat and so on. So okay, so let's probably shorter sightlines, and let's see what happens.
Okay.
E there is not bad. I don't think it's good, but I also don't think it's bad. Like, you did get damage out of it. You did kind of force awkward positioning for them. The fight was sort of starting. Yeah, I think this is just covered. I think there also seems to be a bit of a miscommunication. So if we right click to your team here, I think you're going to see them rotating towards point. Okay, yeah. So there's, I don't want to put this one on you necessarily, but there was definitely lack of cover usage. And also, are we actually fighting here, or are we disengaging the point? I don't really know, and so you get caught. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna blame my team for this. I think this is just completely on me. I think I should have like noticed what they were doing.
Yeah,
to be honest.
yeah. I think if we were to fight here, you hugging the wall to your left on your screen right now would have been very reasonable for the composition. Like we talked about sightlines, right? But it just doesn't. There's a miscommunication here. You end up getting isolated. You don't play near cover well enough, and you get tickled out. Not great. Okay, let's keep going.
Okay.
Okay, we lose. Use your E and get out of dodge. Don't stay here. Because remember, this composition has the capability of catching you with your pants on because they don't need to get on top of you to kill you. You see that? I mean, you saw it right there. Because you feel safe, but you consider the comp, you know? You're not safe being far from that comp. Or that's exactly where they want you to be. Like even here, like quote unquote poking would be a risk, right? You can look at this comp as like at what, I mean, right here, right? It's just a little bit of poking, right, guys? I'm safe, but at what range or at what phase of the fight is their comp better? They're generally, you know. Well, things have shifted, haven't they? Look at the swaps we've got.
They already have.
Right now we're on the mercy. So if we've got the pocket, if we're playing around our ash sightlines, actually now we've 180'd. Now we actually have a slight advantage in the range poke. Now, you need to keep in mind, like right now, we don't have a mercy. That's more important than anything else. But I think you're going to be more flexible. Oh, I thought for sure she was going to ult, but she waited too long.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, she waited too long.
I should have gone that weird. Yeah.
This is just a messy fight. I don't think I've seen anything here that's particularly wrong. You guys just didn't have any ults, and they have had ults. So, you know, we talk about push maps. Nobody talks about Koth. 71%, and you guys are just now using your first ultimate.
Not so good.
Fundamentally unbalanced game mode, I guess. Maybe I should make a YouTube video about it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, this is all fine. Okay, so pretty reasonable round from us. I think we trolled the lobby with first fight, which really sucks in Koth because Koth, you know, you screw it up, you're screwed. Especially if you die to something really cheap, right? You didn't get any ult charge, right? But here, we got an opportunity to get some early poke. Now the tables have turned, so what we're doing right now is a lot more reasonable, right? It's at a range where we're comfortable. Railgun there doesn't quite hit, whatever, you know. Obviously, it sucks.
What do you think of the positioning right now, by the way? Like, do you think maybe I should have played a lot more aggressive, like alongside my wrist in the beginning there? Because I think I'm very reserved.
Well, here's the thing. Where is your Arissa holding? Like, you're not an idiot, right? You could use your eyeballs, and you should be in voice with this person as well. So, clearly, where is your Arissa planning on holding? Like, if we were to draw in a big, fat, massive imaginary line, where would that line be?
Like a big-ass line over here.
Yeah, right? So you going towards point is not the play. I mean, look, she's fortifying.
Yeah,
right
true.
So that being said, you don't want to play on top of your Arissa because you're talking about the offing on the left. That's a big, big problem. So then let's adjust. Where should you be?
I think I want to play like around this like line over here.
You'd get flanked and you'd get your head blown off.
But maybe what if my Ashe is playing like along like this line to begin with, like earlier? Maybe if she was holding like the poking from this side.
What if you were in Mega to start with? Behind you.
That's also not a bad idea. Yeah,
you know,
true.
This is like a lot, and this deals with that cover. Does the flank on the left, right? You can ignore it and do exactly what she's doing to your Ursa. Or if you want to do something even a little bit different, go to your right here right. So back up a little bit. Back up.
Okay. Yeah.
To the other lion statue.
Oh, like this one.
Yeah.
Like for like longer poke.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, are either of those positions the greatest at all time? Maybe not. But it's definitely, at least you could be assisting your Orisa while she's just doing things, right? The problem with your position right now is like, what's your impact right now? Nothing, right? Basically nothing. So I think you want to set up an off angle around your Orisa's position that complements your range. And right now you have the range, but you don't have the angle. And I think that's the problem. Okay. This looks as if guys were going to go to point, but your Orisa is clearly not interested in going to point right now. So your Orisa is probably going to die. Unless you guys pop Curie Gold. Let's see. Oh, she's got it. She survived, but oh gosh, they used Curie Gold. This is all fine from you. I think at this point in time, this positioning is obviously good. You can avoid their sightline and just beat the ever-living crap out of theirs. Love that hitbox so much.
So fun.
I was talking about this on stream. We were talking about like, you know, ways to balance these heroes, and I think one thing that people don't consider with Sojourn or Kiriko enough is
The
the
hitboxes.
hitboxes, right? Like that they're
Yeah.
even like Junker Queen, right, on her release. Like the 3 most recent heroes have all had ridiculous hitboxes. I mean, Junker Queen's obviously fixed a
True.
little bit here, but
Oh, that was a terrible E. Oh,
yeah, not good. You know, there's just it's kiteable or avoidable, and I think like if they're going to kite it or avoid it, then it needs to be in a spot where it's really awkward for them to do so because the fight's starting. Right? They don't want to wait. They don't want to leave the Orisa. You know, this is fine. You know, you can just match this off angle here. It feels bad, but it's also like it's a neutral thing, right? You have cover, she has cover, she's split, you're split. It becomes a mechanical war right there, and you want it.
yeah.
So I think what you did there was fine. I don't know. I think for the most part, especially the last 2 rounds, I think play was reasonable. But what's happening is you're making mistakes that are costing you fights, and then you're playing reasonably well the rest of the round. And I think especially when you're playing a Sojourn with the damage boost, that can't be the case. You know what I'm saying? The E's have to be better, the positionings have to be better, and it's kind of funny because those 2 things were consistent throughout all 3 rounds. Pre-fight, thinking about your positioning and then making sure your E timing is good. That makes sense. To me,
probably had a lot bigger impacts in this fight.
Yeah. But obviously, doing it in the game is a little bit trickier here. So, all right, do you have any questions? Does all this make sense?
I mean, that makes perfect sense to me, to be honest.
Okay.
I think maybe the one thing I need to go back onto like your previous videos on proper with the way you went over the E's. I need to like really fix that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's as simple as it doesn't always have to be a big clump of enemies. It could be a 1v1, but it's all about the timing, right? It's shocker, timing in Overwatch is important. If you can use it in a Sojourn duel and use it to make her have to adjust her positioning, and that gives you an advantage, and that allows you to win the duel, or even if you don't get the kill, she has to disengage, and then you win the positioning war because you had E and she didn't. That's it right there. That's it. Or if you E in a way to where the fight is started, their Orisa walks out, you E, you zone their backline, then their Orisa has to fortify first because she's not getting support because her backline's zoned off. That's it right there. You know, you need to kind of...
causing a split is very important.
Right. Causing a cooldown advantage, winning space through it, either by winning a duel or just by doing a lot of damage at a really good time for your team. It's that simple. And I think the thing for you is it's like there's a little bit of urgency when there doesn't necessarily need to be urgency pre-fight. It needs to be as soon as they've committed, you can kind of be on the lookout, right? I think the challenge with E is ironically it comes from the mechanics of it, right? It's not, especially in a hectic mid-fight, it's not always super easy to put it exactly where you want it to be. And I think that's where the challenge can be.
Especially because like there's a little delay, and it's like sometimes you just move your camera at like just the wrong moment.
Yeah. And sometimes you can't aim at the floor either, right? Sometimes you got to like, eyeball the distance perfectly, and obviously easier said than done. So, okay. Do you have any questions?
No, I think that's perfect. I think this was very worthwhile. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Replay code rule. Shoot me replay code whenever. It could be week, 2 weeks, month, 2 months, whenever you want to. If you do have any other questions, just be like, hey, shoot me the replay code. Give me like 3 or 4 timestamps. Be like, what should I do in this fight? What do you think about this positioning this fight? It doesn't have to be Sojourn. It could be any of the hit scan heroes that you're playing at the time. And I'll get back to you with some written feedback in a couple days. Sound good?
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're very
welcome,
mate.
Hope you have a really good day.
Keep in touch. Good luck, and appreciate being flexible with the rescheduling of the review and all that foolishness.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you being flexible as well. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. I will send you the